Well, actually, it's 7:31, so I guess we should get started. So I want to welcome everybody to the March 16th, 2021 meeting for the San Jose Astronomical Association Special Interest Group, Imaging Special Interest Group. Tonight, we are going to have a general discussion, go over some recent images by some of our members, and maybe some projects people are working on, and we're going to update a little bit on the possibility of getting outdoors together. We're all hoping to do that soon, and I guess that hopefully basically covers it. So who would like to start? Francesco, are you up for it? Okay, you're muted. I will mute.
You're muted, Francesco.
Sorry. Let me I'll share PixInsight directly. Let's see. Can you see PixInsight? Yeah, can anybody see it?
Yes, we can see it now.
All right, so this is the image that I captured last Friday. I decided to go to Pinnacles East instead of the usual west side. It was just a slightly better forecast, slightly less humid. Most importantly, I don't like the drive to Pinnacles West, so I prefer the east side, despite the fact that it's there's a campground on a Friday night. It means that there's lots of passing cars because campers arrive I think at least until 11 p.m. There's still cars and RVs getting in. But it was good. It was actually the darkest I've seen in a while. At my SQM was at 21.67 magnitudes per square arc second. I don't think I've seen anything like that recently from the west side, which confirms my impression that it's actually slightly darker on the east side. But it was cold. It went down to 26. And so I took 2 images during the night. I started off with the Seagull Nebula just before it would set. But I was actually waiting for this one, waiting for Virgo to show up. And this group of galaxies, this galaxy here is NGC 5364. It's located in the eastern part of the constellation, so I had to wait for it to be visible. But I really liked the fact that it was a beautiful spiral galaxy, not really face on, but it still shows the structure really well, accompanied by an elliptical galaxy and some smaller spiral, but in this case edge on. What I didn't know, because I hadn't done my research, unfortunately, was that there's also this cluster here, and I'm zooming in right now. This is a Bell 1809, and I wasn't expecting it. And when I started pixel peeping it, it looked almost like for me the Hubble deep field, because all of these stars were actually galaxies. And so I went to Sinbad and I checked some of the redshift of the individual galaxies. The average redshift of this cluster, and the cluster is the smaller galaxies, not these larger ellipticals, but the redshift is a 0.08, which corresponds to a co-moving distance of slightly over 1 billion light years. So I think this is the deepest and farthest object that I ever imaged. So I'm pretty happy about that. Unfortunately, it was not too easy to process, because let me show you what I found when I opened the 2 files. So I had oh, sorry, this is not the good one. This was after the correction. But anyway, I had some very nasty dust motes that they actually moved all the time throughout the sequence, so they were not properly corrected by the flats. I had to do some manual correction. Fortunately, in a field like this, it's not that hard because I was lucky that they were not superimposed to any galaxy. They were in the background sky. The background sky is actually background. This is very close to the galactic pole. So yes, if I had the image at a much longer integration time, I might have captured some of the IFN, but with only 4 hours of integration, there was no risk of that. And so I did, what I did was to use, to temporarily transform the image from linear to stretched, use a star net to get only the background and remove the stars. And then I painted the background over the dust motes, and then inverted the process, reassembled it with the starless image with the stars only image, brought back to linear format, and continue with the normal processing. But yeah, it was I wasn't too happy to see that 4 hours of integration had given me an image that required some heavy manual work before I could start the actual processing.
What do you attribute? What do you attribute the dust motes moving to? Something on the near the sensor, or something?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely dust on the sensor. It's I had I thought I had cleaned it, and the way I clean it normally, I use a technique that I learned with when I first got my DSLR, my first DSLR, not for astro imaging. You use a synthetic brush. You spray compressed air on it so that it gets charged electrostatically, and then you wipe over the sensor face. The theory is that any dust that's there gets electrostatically attracted to the brush, and you take it away. But apparently, either I was in a hurry, I didn't do it right, and it left something behind. And most importantly, it dislodged whatever was already on the sensor. So instead of staying put in one place where the flats can remove it, it was moving around.
Okay.
Yeah, it happens. Fortunately, in this case, it was the conditions were such that I could correct it. It wasn't, I don't think it was because of the very dry air, because it wasn't too dry, at least until the temperatures dropped below freezing. It was a fairly humid night.
When you were zoomed in on the cluster,
Yep.
I was, it's probably my imagination, but I was wondering if that there's a bright double right there.
This one?
That right there. And that area kind of looks like maybe there's some gravitational lensing going on or something. It's kind of circular. I was wondering if that was anything that you knew, was happening in there.
That's very interesting. I think that to find the answer, one should look at other sources. So let me see if I can share my view share. I share my browser. This one. All right, so this is Aladdin Light, which is the browser for astronomical catalogs that I use frequently. So let me zoom in into that object that we were looking at. This is it. This is two doubles. So let me see identification for this object. Okay, so this is a star, so it shouldn't have a lensing. This is also a star. And let's see these things in the background. This one doesn't get identified. This one is also not identified. This one does not get identified. Yeah, Simba doesn't report it that much here.
Okay.
This galaxy, yes, it's one of the galaxies of the cluster. But yeah, I don't have a conclusive answer. I'm gonna have to check other other sources, I guess. We'll go back to PixInsight. Yeah, but yeah, interesting observation. Thank you. There are certainly more objects visible than what Aladdin reports. So I'm going to have to figure out what could be a possible source of information. Just to show you some of the processing steps, I did my usual tricks. After I integrate the image, this would be it. I did a photometric color calibration to find some colors that at least are plausible for the object. Then I did a pass of a multi-scale linear transform noise reduction. Then I switched to nonlinear. Let me disable the STF. Yes, nonlinear. With I use the ArcSynH stretch with a moderate factor. So I don't. My goal is not to blow out the stars, so that hopefully for an object like this, I wouldn't need to do star reduction. What I did is that after I get to this stage, I clone this image, and I apply StarNet. So I apply StarNet to a clone. So this is the original cloned image. I do StarNet. StarNet, when the image is stretched in this way, leaves behind some halos and stars. I like at this point to move the image to Photoshop and use the content-aware fill operation on those leftovers, being very careful to only do it on leftovers and not on objects, not on galaxies in this case. This is relatively easy in an image like this, would be much more complex in an image with a significant nebulosity, diffuse nebulosity. Once I'm done with Photoshop, I re-import the image, which I always export and import as a 16-bit TIFF file, into PixInsight, and I replace it. So as you can see the difference here, those star leftovers are removed. And when I get to this point, I create with pixel math the difference between the original file, this one, and the StarNet corrected image. And I obtain this, an image that has only the stars, and I can use to create a mask if needed, or I can use just to keep track of the stars and put them back when needed. On the starless image, what I did was to start with exponential transformation, then some local histogram equalization to, as you can see, it makes the spiral arms of NGC 5364 more prominent. Then a few passes of enhanced saturation, 1, 2, 3 passes. And this is basically it for this StarNet image. On the difference, what I did was to increase the saturation of the stars. You can see it here. More or less in the same amount that I did for the non-stellar objects. And finally, I combine everything together and I obtain this. From this point onwards, it's just small adjustments with the histogram transformation to bring the background to the level that I like. I bring out a little more of the nebulosity. There was a little bit too much green, so I used SCNR to remove the green, and I resample it because I don't have enough. I mean, my sensor has a higher resolution than my optics can cope with, so it's pointless to post a non-binned image, and that's it.
When you increase the saturation of the stars only, did you use curves, or how did you do that?
I normally use this color saturation. Yeah, and in this case, I think I did it with this transfer curve, which is essentially a horizontal line. But of course, you can decide to give more contrast to, for instance, to the blue parts by creating a curve like this, if that's what your interest. In this case, I mean, galaxies are essentially a broadband target, so I didn't particularly need to enhance some colors rather than others. But yeah, curves is also a very powerful tool. My only problem is that it's I find it a little bit confusing for saturation. I prefer to use this one.
For the using the content-aware fill in Photoshop, how do you select the stuff that you want to fill?
Great question. So normally what I do is from the difference image, I create a mask that only contains the star cores. So I binarize the mask. I bring it into Photoshop as another image, and I select. I use the magic wand for selection of all the white parts. So basically all the cores. I save the selection. I reopen it. I shrink it so that the small stars are left alone. They probably don't even leave anything behind. Expand it again so that I capture only the largest star, feather the selection borders a little bit, and that's the first pass goes in that way. Then I deselect, and I use the lasso operator to select any other star or halo that was left behind by the previous operation, and repeat as needed.
Yeah, that seems a lot more efficient than I've been using the spot healing brush and going around and clicking on all of them, which can take forever.
Yeah, I don't take credit for that. I use a technique that I found online. There's a guy that published an article called Inside StarNet++ that gives a number of good hints on how to integrate StarNet with Photoshop and PixInsight. I don't follow step by step what he does. In some cases, I take my own route, but the general gist is from that article. Yeah.
Okay.
I can post a link in the chat to the article.
Sure, that'd be great.
If interested. Yeah, I like this image. It's even this galaxy is even more beautiful than I thought, and the unexpected bonus of the Abell 1809 is also quite was very nice. Apparently, the image was liked on Astrobeam, was nominated for top pick, although was not selected for top pick.
No, that's great to be nominated, though. Congratulations. Okay.
If any other question, please.
So you were joined by a couple other of our members. I remember reading.
Yeah. So the only other person that I'm sure that it was one of our members was Nikolov, and yeah, there were another guy. They were all imagers, first of all. Another guy, his name was Adam. I'm not sure if he's one of our members. And he was imaging with an Orion 115 millimeter refractor. And I think the camera was an ASI 1600. And then there was a group of younger guys, also imagers, with I think it was an Orion 80, and they left relatively early. I don't know if they were not prepared for the cold. The cold actually for me was a blessing in disguise, because I don't have any dew heaters for my telescope, and so I was afraid that I would be actually forced to stop early because of dew. But no, thanks to the falling temperatures, I found a nice coat of ice over all of my equipment boxes and over on the car, but the lenses of the telescope remained free. So I imaged until dawn, essentially.
Where on the east side do you then get a campsite, or how? What do you? Where do you set up?
I set up at the on the overflow parking lot where we normally have our start parties.
Mm.
I could get a campsite for Thursday, but Thursday was the weather was not good. On Friday, unless you book months in advance, I think it's impossible. And also, Friday is the campground is very crowded, so I think it would mostly be showing the universe to other people who are hanging out around you than imaging. Whereas the overflow parking lot, nobody shows up. The only person who showed up was the ranger, and actually he was so nice. He was concerned that campers may come to the overflow lot and disturb us with their flashlights, and so he wanted to know if he could put some signs on the road and not to that the lot was closed. It was super nice, and it wasn't actually a problem because nobody was. We didn't see anybody even trying to walk to the overflow lot. It's the main difference. I think that east side is okay for imaging, but it's not very appreciated by visual observers because for two reasons: the traffic, both foot traffic and car traffic, and the fact that there's this the bathrooms nearby have their lights never go out at night. They are not bright. It's nothing to compare with the floodlights on the west side, but they are not timer activated or motion activated. They just stay on. Huh. So for imagers, it's not a problem. But if they would ruin my night vision if I were a visual observer.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Thanks.
I also have another image, the one that I still have to process it. So this is a preliminary thing. Let me just share it. How do I do this? Oh, I share the preview application. New share. This one. You probably all know this one. This is a Seagull Nebula. I imaged it in the first part of the night before things became interesting on the Virgo side, and before this one set too low on the horizon. And the difference, the previous image, I took it with my 5-inch refractor. This one was with a 2.5-inch quadruplet refractor. So it's a much wider field of view than the previous image. This is about I think 3.5 degrees on the long side. It's an H-alpha object. I have a DSLR, so I cannot do narrowband, but it's a modified DSLR, so it responds decently to H-alpha radiation. Yeah.
Beautiful. Look forward to seeing the final finished image.
Yeah, when this will require some more processing and maybe another session. Well, there will be no other session of integration this year, I'm afraid, but it would benefit from some longer integration.
Okay.
All right, I relinquish my sharing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gian, you wanted to share some stuff that you have been capturing recently.
Yes, no problem. Okay, let me start share screen.
I see it in your background there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
We see your PixInsight. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So first thing I like to talk about the color mapping. Last year we had discussion about the nano band color mapping, and so so I had a HSO image ready, and then I made it to here. So it's the image is totally blown out, and in the past 2 years I try to figure out how to make a color correctly. So and then I look into detail how to do that, and so and I found one website. Usually here, right, we use a pixel map, try to put a different mapping equation, right, like 80% HA plus 20% S2 to be a red channel, and so we assign different proportion percentage for each channel, and sometimes work but sometimes not work. So then I look into and I found one website is pretty helpful. So I would like to share you that desktop. So can you see my screen browser?
Yes, we can see it. Mhm.
Yeah, so I found out like Don Gorman had one tutorial. I think it's from the 2004 AIC conference, and he had those video put on this website. And one of most interesting I had is this tutorial 9, creeping layer mask method in a Photoshop. That means when we made the SHO on the image, and it allow us to modify each channel, and to bring the color to where we each I like, and I find out it's work quite well for me, because in the pixel inside I don't need to try the equation, try different pixel math, and sometimes like in here I will generate 10, and I still don't like them at all, and I had to keep trying. So then I find out I can use this one, pretty easy to adjust the color, to make the color where I like. And so I'm going to have another one. Okay, before we start, so let's look at this one, right? This is totally terrible. And so what I did when I had a narrowband channel ready, and I used the StarNet to convert them to starless. And because this creeping layer mask, right? It cannot handle the star color. Every time you change, you're going to screw up the star color. So this procedure, this method, right, had to be in the starless. So once I had a fair idea what it looked like, then I set those starless file to tick file, and then I open the pixel. I open the Photoshop to edit. So let's go to Photoshop. Okay, so I had this project. Let's mark them out. So I copy 3 individual narrowband image. First, I create a color image with the same size of image for the narrowband image. Then I copy each individual to each layer. Then in each layer, right? Then we create a hues and saturation. So basically, you create a colorize. and then move to saturation to 100%. And for the red channel, S2, right, going to match to red channel. So we select Q to 360. So this will be our red channel. And then in this channel, right, I create this layer to this layer, to S2 channel there. And then I change this one to screen. So once done that, usually I done this one, these two layer first, then I did, okay, then I bring in, right, HA as for the green channel. So then I create a layer, hues and saturation layer. And same thing, I click the colorize and lighten, right? Initially, I will put -51 every channel at the beginning. And then because this is a green channel, so we put number on the hues around 120. So, and then same thing, creeping this one to down to a HA layer. So, and same thing with the O3. So this time, as the blue channel, same thing we put here. So after that, so let's see. Okay, this one will be our initial image. Then, so, and then something not right. Let me see. Oh, sorry, this one. Okay, so this image is look like we did exactly on the pixel inside, very similar. So we see the green is overwhelming on the with green color. So now I would like to start to judge. So in each channel, right, like here, I can, for example, if I like to change green channel, I can create another layer from here. And for example, I create level 3. So I would like to lower the green to, can you see a little bit off about the green? And can you see that? Or
We see the
just
green.
a little bit. Yeah, that's green. Yeah. So anyway, so I start to adjust each individual for each click channel.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that you start to look differently. And then, so, and if we even can allow us to change more. For example, the green is still too much. So here we have two places we can change. One is a saturation. So it will be less saturation, right? So another way is lightness is so I think we green is too strong. We just move back, reduce, it get less. So we can adjust each channel to where we like. So that is an example I find out is very flexible. And so if you like to get stronger, you will get it. Oh, sorry. I think when I move here, we will get a more golden. You can see that.
Yes.
And so that's I think this way I can compare the pixel inside. I can fine tune each way without repeatedly use a pixel mask to create different combination. And I found this one's pretty good. So, and for example, I like to have more. I would like to have more blue, so I get more blue here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can keep adjust this one until I feel I like it, and then I I just merge it, or I just select all, copy it, or merge. Then I go to next one. And the next one is a buffering key. Selected color. So this one is based on the this based on this website. Grant gave me this website, so I just follow this one. So for example, on my, so this one, right? I input, when in the creeping color creeping side, I decide to keep some green, because the green color allow me to based on this method, right, it will let me generate a lot of golden color. So I would like to have more golden color. So I keep more. So I decide to keep more yellow. Sorry, green. So I make a little bit adjust, and then this one, right? This all screw up. This not the. This one is first adjust the greens based on the. I follow. We just follow along with first one is green. So we selected color, and I just follow those number, and then see second green, and then this one will take care of the little bit blue, and this more blue. So, and it will get the color I like. And also during I also can change underline layer. I know this is not good. I just as example, so I still can fine tune the color mapping. So, and so I think at this point, I like this color. So then I will go for the next. The next one, right, is high pass. I think we talked that. I think Eric present this one before, and I also in this page, I also mentioned about high pass filtering in the Photoshop to increase the contrast and shorten the image. So, and I kept this one. So let me show. So this is the one from the buffering key color mapping. So I copy to here, and the first time what I copy the starless SJAA image. Then this four so I put here, and each layer, right? I use the low pixel count, like I cannot show here. Usually start from 4 pixel to 5 pixel. Then I increase a little bit to 6 or 7. Then I increase to 12. And so you can see, I'm not sure. Yeah. So you see, see the sharpen a little bit.
Mm.
And so same thing, I would like to get a different, I make a 2 copy of a starless 03 image, and then I use the high pass filter to sharpen again, so get different field, has a different area. So this pretty much near finish my starless image. So then here I copy, then I did I use a screen mode with a star, and then we generate star with a star image. So I just show you how I did for this one. So I think this website is I find out it's pretty good, and and it helped me a lot. Also, this 7 and 8, number 7 and 8 had a lot of how to fix the problem on the pixel inside. I also this one create a LRGB help too. So so that's it. So, and second thing I'd like to show you is my recent M51 image. So let's go. And because this is a Gary's image, so I had to I cannot do a status, so I had to use a traditional way. And the first thing I need to do is do the deconvolution. So for the deconvolution, I need to create an object mask to indicate where I want to deconvolve an image. And then I also need to create local support. Is a star map where I don't want to sharpen or deconvolve. And then we also need to create PSF image to indicate your star. And so and I did not use HA and O3. I did acquire them, but I tried to bring the HA into the image, but it's not quite well. I think I need to work on, need to learn more how to do that. And so, and then so when I do the deconvolution, last week I found I had a big problem. Is the way, right? Because every time we do a deconvolution, we need to use a screen transform to see what we change. So what we see is a straight image, but we are deconvolution on the linear image. So when we finish the deconvolution, when I start to stretch, at the end, right, I feel very happy about the code accuracy, but I find out I had some problem with some star, and it's look terrible. So I'm going to show you how. So for the deconvolution, right, it's very important to how to straight the image. So okay, this is my first one, right? This before that I show you the original lumen. Okay. So this is a terrible in the from my houses. It's a lot of light pollution. So I crop a little bit, then I do the dynamic background extraction. So and when I hand doing processing, my pixel inside crash, so I don't have track record for the project. So what I did here, right? So first I started deconvolution. So let's go to here. So usually with this, we need to see here sorry. So we use a screen transfer function to be, and then I apply the deconvolution. So okay. Now let me undo the deconvolution. I'm not sure. Can you see it get a little bit better? So
Can you go back and forth?
sure. Let me expand more.
Okay.
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see, you can feel it different, right?
Mhm.
And I like to show you this star, right? It's perfect. Right? I show you this star. Yeah, a little bit small. And during the deconvolution, right, I need to local support. I need to I expand the star, right, to protect those star I don't want to do deconvolution. So I keep I keep expand convolution and then do the morphological transfer to make the star bigger. So to prevent me to, don't do the, do not apply the deconvolution on this star. So everything look perfect. So then I start to stretch. Okay. You see, now you see this star is screw up.
Mhm.
So I use this image for a few times. So I couldn't figure out why, and then so I decided to copy one. And I think because I screw up this star is because when let's go back to here. Let's go back to before we deconvolution. So this screen transfer, right? Is you already stretch to what we see, right? But when we do all the a stretch with some here, it no longer applies same as what we did in the screen transfer. It's different. That's why this star, right, getting worse. See, now the more I stretch, so I copy the one right after deconvolution. Okay. So I do a stretch, but at this time, right, I keep watch this big star, and then to prevent me to get fumble, because every time I did in my final image, I always find some star right blow up and become the way supposed not to be. So I find out this one is good. This one dark lane is much better, and so I decided to use this one, and I use this one. I will further process in the pixel Photoshop, and then for the color one. So the color side, right? Basically, it's very simple. I use a channel combination, just straight put to here, and I already did the dynamic background on those three image, RGB image. So I just simply do a channel combination, and then so the next thing is the photometric color calibration, and then I use my max stretch. It's one of my favorite stretch. To stretch out. I also in the lumen, I also use that one. It's not work. The stars. So and then pretty much at the end, right? I also do a color saturation. Then I use this to I just remove the two small layer to remove the noise on the image. So those this area was more smooth. So that's what I did under this, and then so SJAA just remove the green color inside small background. There's always has some green color. Also some star I had a green on the edge, so I remove them, and then I stretch a little bit. This one, right, is just for I just simply use my luminance for me to generate LRGB. I did not use this one for the final, but at this point, right, it's look okay and quite good. So then I actually I export. Let me see. I export this one to Photoshop for further process, because in the Photoshop I also apply a Dan Goldman this one. So, and it basically just put lumen on top of RGB layer, and then use a luminosity. So it was same thing like in the pixel inside. So and that's it. So, and I'm going to show you what am I. So that pretty much I done here is on the Photoshop. I just modify luminance, and finally I did on the color mapping. So because I'm not prepared for the demo, so I didn't save a project. So I basically I use a lot of methods show up here, and it's quite helpful. So yeah. And then, and I also would like to show you, I think I need to close this project, is the Dolphin Nebula, because I think based on the weather and it's not going to finish. So, but I show you my preview. This is Starless. Oh, I can put in the pixel inside. Yeah, this Starless Dolphin. And I think I finished most of coloring. And so, yeah, and then later I'll put the star back to this dolphin head.
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. And I was surprised, and I want to collect more data, but look like it's going down soon. So yeah, good. So any question?
What about the one that you're using for your background?
Which one?
The is it the spaghetti or the I can't remember the name.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the Spaghetti Nebula.
Spaghetti
CME
Nebula.
is 147.
okay. You mean the background? How I use the Starless, same thing. Same thing like let me see. I put it archive, so I already put
okay.
the. So
Oh, I
let me
see.
That's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
You've come a long way in a couple of years. I feel like a complete slacker.
Yeah. Oh no, it's okay.
You are doing great.
Oh, which one?
Are you setting up and tearing down frequently, or are you able to leave stuff set up for?
Oh, I usually if right now this weather I tear down, but I keep the scope, but I take down the camera.
Mhm.
So and then I use 2 layers of actually I use a garbage bag. I use 2 sides of garbage bag. First side garbage bag, right? I put wrap around the scope, and the second garbage bag put under the tripod, and then I had a big telescope, 360 telescope protected. So and so to
Telegizmo.
prevent.
Gizmo.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So where's my? Oh, sure. So what's the mean? You question about the background mean how can I generate background or?
Oh, your background, right when we see your image right now, behind you, we see the spaghetti nebula.
Oh,
So
my
you're using it
image.
as, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See. Oh, here.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
Yeah, this one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this good one. Yeah. This one is I did my Takahashi with a reducer, so it just fit every in a single frame.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I got so then I they usually had a here they had a image context here. I saw some here, so
Mhm.
then I joined that because it requires to use the Exton filter. So then I just simply join. I submit my image and they like this one, and yeah, and this one is HO, and I think the process is the same. This straight I do a lot of so it's pretty similar to what I did a Dolphin head. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, this one's pretty good. Yeah, and I also had a very good weather continue for like 8 day, 9 day. We only and this one right, because the weather is so good, I keep everything. I don't even turn my camera at all. I just leave there. I cover by 96 gallon garbage bag. Then I tie down and lower. So then next day I pull out and keep doing. So because I it's not allow me to turn the angle because this is just exactly whole frame did. So and yeah, and I had a lucky 8 days. Yeah,
Nice.
good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I think you won a contest on Astrodon for that, right?
Yeah, this one. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And they gave me the print, so it's good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good.
I have a question
You're welcome.
for Gina, if I may.
Mhm.
So I noticed that this image, you took it with your Takahashi on a CM40 EC, right?
Yeah.
How does that mount work for you? Is the one with the encoders, right?
Yeah, yeah. It works every money, really. I really like it because oh I did not let me see. Let me see where my photo. Give me a second. Oh, this one. This one we their photo print, and this one right. It's quite
Go
good.
ahead and share your screen again.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, give me a second.
No problem.
Oh yeah.
I got this print. They sent me a print. 24 by 16.
Wow.
And it's pretty good. Yeah. And
Nice.
so I so this one I think, do you see that this one right? I had
Yep.
one problem. The whole telescope slipped down. And because of this one right, I tie it and keep straight down, and however it's still guiding very well because the low part is heavy, and it still guide very well and no problem at all.
Mhm.
And so and I try to I think you try to make a scope balance, right? Here I had some weight I click here, but it's still not quite work. It's already free spin, but since it had encoder, right? It's quite good, yeah. And
Nice.
also this one is the wide field. You don't require, and it works every piece. I like encode, and I had a problem this one. I see.
Yeah.
I try to solve the same problem here.
Yep.
And if I don't put it, it was the whole telescope would spin right left, and so I put here, and this scope right. yeah, it's actually it start getting better recently because I find out I use the multiple star guiding on the PhD tool, and it get better. So it's allow me to image MD1. For me, had a much longer export time. Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, and I spent about 2 years to make it. I also changed the focus. This is a feather touch focuser
Oh.
on the back, and I also had a moonlight focuser on here, and it's very difficult because I need to make here a spot on, and then I had a 156 mm back focus from reducer. So all of them had to work exactly, close for me to have a good focusing. So I spend a lot. Actually, this set I spend a lot of time, and also I change a lot, and so for the CEM40, I just put it on and work, no question. It's wonderful. Yeah, I was praying for this one for the outside, go to a dark side, and because it's small, everything easy to set up. And I also show you this TEC 160 FL is a 160 mm long, and this is the AP Mark II GTO, and this one is I think both a VTEC tripod. Right now it's about 34-inch high, and it can raise up to 54-inch high.
Wow.
So because I had this in my house, right? So I cannot reach the polar. So I can raise this one up, and it's quite good. This one, it's otherwise it's no way for me to image at this spot. So yeah, this one, and this is also encoder. Sometimes, right, I visually, then I change it to image, and then I forgot to balance, and then it just guide very well. Just like a CEM40, the guide. I don't even know I'm not in the balance. So yeah, this the mount with the encoder is really good. Yeah.
Do
Seems
you
like
still guide anyway?
Right?
Do you still guide even with the encoders?
Yeah, I still guiding because I like this one, right? I always take like 900 seconds. So I think the model, right, may not work. It still need to guide a little bit, like
Right.
yeah. So yeah, but I it's too much time to model it. So I did try a couple times, but I just a PhD too, and it's wrong. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Glenn, did you have some stuff you wanted to go over regarding projects or images, or I know you wanted to talk about hands-on imaging workshops coming up, possibly.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get back out in the field and have people come out to Little Uvis. Just as we were talking here, I was trying to see if there was any indication on the Santa Clara County website about the COVID situation regarding outdoors, and I didn't see anything super specific for other than outdoor sports. They have a whole special page for that, but I did go to the Open Space Authority, and it looks to me like all their trails are open at this point. So I think I just need to reach out to them to get explicit permission to use Little Uvis again, and we could do that with social distancing and masks. So I will reach out and see if I can get back out in the start getting back out in the field.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I'd like to change the program a little bit, so I'm not giving the same lecture every time that I've recorded and put on the YouTube and stuff. So I'm open to people's suggestions of what they think would be good for newcomers or anything that they're interested in hearing about or working on while we're out there. That would be good. Yeah, and then as far as projects, you know, I think I talked last time about the Vixen scope that was donated. And so that, you know, I got going with sort of my instrument package that I use on my other scopes. And I did a wide field tadpoles that's up on Astrobin. And now I'm trying to come up with I call it a poor man's onag, right? Originally it was 3D printed, and now I've moved on to modifying a inexpensive flip mirror that's a little more precision in terms of being made out of metal instead of plastic and stuff. And so that's the current project. But the idea is to, you know, use the onag for guiding and focus control with that rig for the club that we could take out to little Uvis or what have you. So starting to rethink the 10-inch RC as being a little too heavy to take out there in my 2-seater car. And so we have a ton of equipment now. Just, I mean, unfortunately it has to do with people passing, but you know, we've got an 8-inch RC, a 10-inch RC. We've got the Vixen 140 refractor. And I mean, I had a Stellar View 102 that I actually gave back to the loaner program because, you know, now we've got the Vixen, so it's got more aperture. So yeah, there's no lack of gear. So we just have to figure out how to get it back into hands of people at the workshops.
Yes. You know, we have a loaner program for visual, but we don't have a actual program for imaging rigs, right?
Yeah. The board had thought originally that was too much risk for people to just show their driver's license and then take off with, you know, $10,000 worth of stuff, and also the fragility of, you know, DSLRs, which is what we had at the time. But I think their attitude may have changed. I mean, now there's solar rigs in the program, which are sort of similar in some ways, you know, in terms of the cost anyway. So yeah, and based on the amount of gear that we have, maybe we could do some of that. But the loaner program has been limited by the fact that we don't have access to Hoagie Park, right? So that's where the loaner exchange, equipment exchange has been happening. So the city just won't allow us to go in there. So we've sent a letter to them saying, you know, can we, now that we're in the red tier, can we do this on a limited basis or something? So I think we're waiting to hear back on that. But yeah, and then there's always the idea of, you know, can we set up a remote site somewhere, or you know, what people would be interested in terms of a club subscription to Telescope Live or what have you, as a way to supplement your thirst for images and data to process when it's cloudy, or however you want to, southern hemisphere, or however you want to look at it. I liked the I forget the gentleman's name from Telescope Live, that
Alex.
Alex. mentioned that there was at least one club that had signed up to get, you know, essentially all of the data, right? So all the one clicks, all the pro data sets and all that, that would keep a lot of people busy for a long time to process all that data. And now they've probably from me and others taken feedback that the one clicks weren't long enough in terms of integration time to do anything really quality with. So they've doubled the amount of integration time and also the length of the individual subs to try to make people happier with that. So, and they've also added luminance to the RGB that they were doing. So now it's LRGB. So
Well, sounds
a
like
lot
big
of-
progress.
yeah, a lot of changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something I'd be interested in finding out what the level of interest is from all of you guys and gals, and then we could approach them and see what that costs and if that's something the club is willing to do.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think Google Groups has some built-in capacity for polling, and I need to learn how to use that.
Okay. Yeah.
Do some polling, see if we can get
Sounds
some
good.
opinions, and probably would be useful to do it in the observer group also, as far as, you know, using a remote site anyway.
Yeah, well, there's a project going on with the, you know, the club has a 20, is it 24 or 24-inch Dob, right, that we've had, and it takes like 2 vehicles and a small army of astronomers to move it and set it up. And so we haven't been really utilizing it. And now there's a project going on where there's one club member that's volunteering to take it and set it up and operate it for the club. And as part of that, I think we could look at some of these options, Bruce, that you and I have talked about, you know, locations that might be good for that, as well as doing some imaging at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments or adventures they want to share? Images?
I could just add for the selective color thing from that website. Yeah, I made a Photoshop action. I think I shared it here before. I like the way that he was doing it with. I took notes. He was doing it with adjustment layer so that it's non-destructive, which is different than how my action works. But I do have an action that goes through all the steps on that web page with one click.
Green to gold? Something?
Yeah, green to gold. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did try. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
No,
good.
your way is superior in terms of maintaining control. And like I said, I wrote it down. I want to check that out. But yeah, in terms of just convenience, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I just, you know, for example, I just keep up. If I keep that project and just every time I put 3 different image, and it will make for me. But I still feel I need to change quite often. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
oh, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, I recently got a lot of questions about taking the luminance on the light pollution area, and actually I had the same problem, but it seemed to me when I had a bigger scope, longer focal length, because I had a much narrow view, field of view, so I will have less light pollution on the lumen. Is that the proper way? Because you know, my personal experience, if I use a 40-inch refractor, right, my lumens blow out. And but when I use SCT 11, I got a little bit, but it's manageable. So I just like to hear from you. Is that the
Well, I remember doing a lot of research to figure out if aperture helped in any way, and I think I convinced myself that it could, and that's why I bought the 12-inch RC. So I don't know if I was just kidding myself or what, but I guess, yeah, another project that I could have mentioned is, we had a gentleman speak a couple years back on using a set of Stromberg filters for RGB under light pollution. And those are Stromgen, thank you. Those are very hard to come up with, but I just pulled the trigger on a yellow narrowband filter from a company that I found. So I'm going to try using H alpha and O3 and then this yellow filter to do galaxy type targets under heavy light pollution. So we'll see. I don't have any idea about halos or anything with this filter. I asked them about anti-reflective coatings and they kind of did a song and dance. So we'll see. But I thought it was worth the money to do the experiment. So we'll see how it works out. Oh, and I guess speaking of filters, I'm excited about this new brand of narrowband, 3 nanometer narrowband filters that are considerably less expensive than the chromas and the astrodons. Starts with an A. Bruce, I told you the other day that.
Right.
Yeah, so
can't recall.
ALTAIN or something like that. I've got it in a spreadsheet here. And it seems like the cloudy nights conversation is pretty positive, but these things, for the 1.25 inch, they're like $270 versus $570 for the same size filter for astrodons or chroma. So if that works, that's great. ANTLIA.
Yeah, I did see some people. I saw some people in the extra bin.
Yeah, because I've got 6 nanometer astronomics, and the club has those as well on a couple different rigs that we've got. But I'm interested in trying to go down to 3 nanometer, and this makes it a lot more economic. So we'll see. I want to see a few more things on Astrobin and a few more. Because most of the discussion on cloudy nights was, I think, comparing them to the better, wider nanometer filter. So we'll see.
Yeah. Doing a quick look on Astrobin, I'm seeing some pics that are
there's a few
beautiful.
Yeah. So far, so good, but I don't want to jump too early. So.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Hi, my name is Walter da Cruz. I'm sorry, I'm kind of new. I'm trying to improve my astrophotography. I'm not there yet. Recently, I got an ASI 1600 LRGB, and I'm having a problem. I'm supposed to spend more time trying to fix it, but it's been a little while. So the problem is with my luminous. When I'm taking pictures at the very beginning, seems to be okay. However, at nighttime, there is some type of ice building into my telescope, and my luminous later on is all bright, kind of wash out, and I cannot see anything. So I just wonder how people fix that issue about the ice building, because it's kind of cold, midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, if you're getting dew on your, uh, it's probably not on the filter itself. It's maybe on your telescope. What kind of scope are you using?
Celestron 925 HAD.
Uh-huh. You using a dew shield? Is
Mm,
it dewing
no.
up? Maybe. I'm just wondering if maybe that might be part of the problem. As the night wears on and the humidity gets worse, and
Yeah.
you know,
And then later on, when I try to process my pictures, and I see that all the luminous are all white.
just the luminance.
Yes.
Hmm.
Reds are fine, green, but because I don't have luminous, the quality of the pictures are not that good.
Okay.
Probably
I'm
have
not-
to move to the SHO, but I'm not there yet. So I just wonder if people have the same type of problem and how they fix that issue.
Yeah, we're confused by the fact that it seems like it's just happening to the luminance, right? So SCTs are kind of, you know, the poster child for dewing up when the weather conditions cause that. So yeah, a dew shield or a dew heater, but that doesn't explain why you're only seeing it in the luminance, unless there's something weird where it's actually there's moisture condensing on the luminance filter and not the other filters, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me either. So that's where you've got us a little confused right now.
Yeah, it only happened on the luminous. Not sure why, to be honest.
Well, and I mean, you can, if it only happens later at night, right? You could take your, I mean, ideally you're taking all your data when things are up high in the sky, but I mean, you could take your luminance data all at once rather than rotating between the filters, right? LRGB, LRGB, you could do
okay.
LLLLLRRR, you know, like that.
Okay.
And maybe get the L's out of the way before it gets too cold or something. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who had that problem. So I just wondered if somebody else find that problem. Yeah, I'm gonna follow you.
Are you on cloudy nights by any chance?
Yes, I am.
Okay, that sounds like a good question to ask on cloudy nights because you'll get a broader response, and you know, people who might have experience with something specific like that that we don't.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you, but we are very fortunate at this point to be able to have you know, something resources like that we can ask. We can put a question up there and get responses from people all over the world. You know, thousands
Sure.
of people will see it. So,
Thank you very much. Yes, I'll do that.
no problem.
I would recommend investing in some dew heater technology. You can buy a front lens protector, has a built-in. The dew shield has a built-in dew heater that will fit right around your correct plate, and then
Astro's app makes a
yeah, there are a Celestron obviously makes one that you can get, and I'm running a ROS 11, and it helps out in two ways. First of all, it would do it very quickly, about 6 months out of the year. But the other thing it helps in a big way to control extraneous light from getting into your optics, or it bounces around. The other thing I would look into doing is that if you're running filters, you have a little carousel going that it may be possible that as your filters are sitting out more exposed to the elements, shall we say, that they can cool down to the point where when you put them in the optical train, they may do up at that point if you have any sort of environmental leak. You would look at that. So you might want to consider slapping a little bit of a dew heater on your filter wheel itself. What kind of camera are you using on that?
It's an
I got
ASI
an
1600.
ASI, yeah, 1600.
How is that?
SJAA ASI 1600.
Okay, so it has a cooler, but also has a heat window on it, on the camera itself. For that, you have a possibility of putting in a filter that is colder than that heated window. So it may be pulling in moisture as the preferable place to be dewed upon. So I would kind of look at those things. And then one thing you can do as a diagnostic is when you think, okay, this is about the time of night that this happened, you can take out a little pen light, white light, go out to the corrector, the front surface corrector for the Schmidt, and just shine down there and see if on any of your optical surfaces you are getting dew. Don't be too alarmed about weird dust and all that stuff that happens. But if you have dew on any of those surfaces, you may be able to see it and then be able to localize the issue.
One thing
So,
that does occur to me also is if you're using LRGB, your luminance is broadband. It's really not eliminating anything. Your RGB filters might have a notch for sodium vapor lights that are in your neighborhood. You could be getting at a certain point in time, you could be getting extraneous light coming in from a sodium vapor light that your luminance filter does not filter out that your other filters do.
Yeah,
So-
probably. Yeah, my backyard is not that good. It's kind of small. And while it rotates, maybe, yeah, the lights might change.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure.
hope that helps.
Can I share screen? I show you.
Oh, sure.
Can
Go
I?
ahead.
So, yeah, I think this one, right? Dew shares help a lot,
Mhm.
and you also hit this one. So I wish I had longer because to filter out more, but it will catch the wind. So it's
Right.
so but this one, yeah, quite good. And I saw some people also add a dew heater pen around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
If
that's but I also had an ASI 1600, so I don't have a problem.
Mhm.
And one night, I think last year this time, I tried to do a coordination. So I take the dew heater out, and when I do a coordinating, and like 5 minutes, my front place all got a lot of dews right away.
Yeah.
It's very easy, especially this time. So yeah, that's what I had before.
One thing that I've also seen is some dew shields are more, I've seen people make dew shields and they were a little more flexible than was workable. And if they change in their shape a little bit, your flats may not be consistent if you're doing flats to compensate. And you want to get a dew shield that's pretty stiff. Personally, I like the aluminum ones, but you can get plastic ones that are still pretty firm. But watch out for, you want to try and be consistent about the way that they are on there and get them on there nice and solid.
Thank you. Yes, I'll try that.
Sure. Okay. Anything else? Anything coming up that anybody wants to share? Any ideas? Otherwise, I guess we'll maybe call it a night, and I hope to see you all here next month. Okay, thanks so much for sharing, you guys, and it was really
Thank
nice
you. Good night.
seeing
Thank
everybody.
you.
All
Yeah.
right,
Good night.
take care.
Thank you.